Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, in this live stream, happy Friday, by the way. It's Friday if you're watching this live. So, yeah, weekend's here. Um, this is like a what's the word? It's like a mixture of a few different stories, this stream. And what I'm going to do then, because there's a few things, there were so many things I wanted to talk about, so I thought, well, the best thing is to just talk about them all, and then I'm going to chop this stream up into bite-sized videos about each different subject, because there are 5 things I'm going to talk about in this stream. And then I'm going to chop it up into different videos. So then if people don't want to watch, maybe someone who's interested in the Delphi murders isn't interested in what's going on in Glasgow or the UFOs in Spain, or maybe someone who's interested in Liam Payne isn't interested in the airport fire in Australia. But I wanted to talk about all of them. So I thought I'd do the stream. I'll talk about each one. Then afterwards, I will be sort of editing the stream and putting it out in 5 separate videos, small, short videos, hopefully. So just to let you know that. So if you're watching this stream, if later you see something come up that was in the stream, you've probably seen it before already in the stream. What else did I want to say? Yeah, that's it. Hi, David. So that's right. So it's a bit of an impromptu stream. A lot of people will be caught out because I couldn't decide what time I was going to do it because I've got to go out shortly. And I thought, oh, do I wait until I come back and then do this? Or shall I start it now? I mean, I've probably got about an hour and a half before I need to go out. So I thought, no, I'm going to start the stream, and it may end up I may end up having to sort of finish it and do part 2 later. That's the problem being a YouTuber, and when you've got things to do as well. It'd be great if I could just sit here for hours and didn't have to worry about anything else, but I do. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to talk about I'm not going to talk about them in massive detail, and none of them really is enough for a video. Well, you could pad it out and make it a video on its own, a stream on its own. But these are just short things that I want to talk about. So I thought I'd put them all together. And then as time goes on, if they need a more in-depth stream or whatever, then I will do that. Okay, are you ready? So I thought that I would start with. Now, I'm going to start with talking about Liam Payne. Now, apart from actually reporting on it when Liam Payne very sadly died, in that awful, well, it's an accident is what they're saying, from the balcony of his hotel room in Argentina. I haven't really done any videos because there's a lot of, again, the conspiracy theories swirl, all sorts of things are being said. So I don't want to get involved in that. At the end of the day, this lad is dead, and that it's awful, and his family must be going through hell. And, he seems like, I feel for Liam because, he had everything, didn't he? He's the lad who had everything but was unhappy, and he was unhappy, and that is himself. He admitted that himself. He has been in stages where, he thought about ending it all, and he did say in the interviews that he did that he had thought about that had crossed his mind. But it seems like that's not what happened, even though there's been speculation about that. Did he do it to himself? Did somebody else do it to him? And it seems like now they're saying it was an accident. It was an accident. He may well have been unconscious when he fell. He was certainly under the influence of drink and drugs. There have been there's certainly been one other incident where he went out on a balcony. Maybe sort of trouble is when you're under the influence of drink and drugs or a combination. And apparently he was also on depression medication. That's a lethal cocktail, isn't it? To be stood on a balcony, a high-rise balcony. But anyway, so let's have a look at the news article that I want to talk about. I'll show you some photos. I think we all know Liam Payne. He was famous. I'm not even, you did used to watch the X Factor years ago when he won it with One Direction. That was probably one of the last series. The last series I watched of the X Factor was with James Arthur. When he won, I love James Arthur. I think he's the best thing that ever came out of the X Factor. I didn't like the way he was treated. Anyway, he's come back. He's another one with mental health issues, but he's come back from the wilderness because he was sort of consigned to this is the problem, isn't it? Fame builds you up and then it casts you down, and not everybody comes back from being cast down. James Arthur has, but he's younger than Liam. There's a long way to go. You have to get through the whole of your life. If you've had mental health issues at any point in your life, or even if you haven't had them, you never know when they might pop up again, or even for the first time. A psychologist I know was telling me that everybody has the propensity for mental illness. It's not, it can be aggravated by factors. It can be brought on by bereavement, or there are genetic factors. There are so many different factors, but it's almost like cancer, because it can be activated. Mental health problems can be activated by trauma. You could go through your whole life with no problems with mental health issues, and then maybe something traumatic happens, or you start drinking, or you start taking drugs, or something happens, something catastrophic happens in your life, and boom, there you are. You may never have had any mental health issues your whole life, and you can't think that it's safe from it because you get older. It could be getting older that triggers your mental health issues. Maybe you can't cope with getting older, because although the alternative is not very nice to getting older, but getting old is not very nice either. It brings all its own problems like illness and loss. Life is a difficult journey for everybody, young or old. So mental health issues, no one is safe from them. And even doesn't matter how much money you've got, doesn't matter how famous you are, doesn't matter what family you've got around you, and or even how much you're loved, because once you start off with mental health issues, all those things sort of don't matter, do they? Look at people like Whitney Houston, then the drugs take over, or how many famous people end up going down a rocky road, or their children do. Look at the Presley family. The grandson of Elvis Presley, he took his own life. Anyway, it's endless, isn't it? So I think one thing we can all agree on is that mental health can affect anyone. It doesn't matter their social standing. It doesn't matter how much money they've got in the bank. It doesn't matter their age. It doesn't matter their sex. Everybody suffers from time to time, or could potentially suffer from mental health issues. So poor Liam, he struggled, but he was a survivor. He struggled with drug addiction. He struggled with mental health issues. And at times he seemed to be coming through it, and then he seemed to relapse again. So that's the other problem when you're famous, or even if you're not famous, but if you're still living in that environment where you've been exposed to drugs, or whatever, whether you're famous or not, if you're living in a council estate in somewhere where there's a lot of drugs, and you get involved in, you go down that route, or you go down the crime route, and then you want to escape from it, you've got to really leave that complete area, because if you're still living in that same area, mixing with the same people, etc., you're probably going to find it difficult to get out of it. Whereas if you're famous, you're still going to be surrounded by all those hangers on, aren't you? And in the music industry, there's always somebody who'll be offering to buy you drugs or make some money out of you or whatever. So it's very difficult to escape. Even, you know, you can go to a bloody detox or whatever, but you've still got to come back to your normal life at some point, haven't you? Okay, let's find this article about. So what I wanted to talk about in particular, just about Liam, you know, as I said, I don't want to get involved in any conspiracy theories and things, but 3 people have been charged in connection with his death. So that's big, isn't it? I think it is anyway. Let's have a look at this article. Let me just make sure, see if anybody else. So 3 people charged in connection with the death of the One Direction star, according to the prosecutor's office. And they're saying that he was not fully conscious or was experiencing a state of noticeable decrease or loss of consciousness at the time of his fall. Why do they keep putting this thing on? Don't want to see about Queen Camilla. She's not even a queen anyway. So, I can't just try and need to. Anyway, let me just read it out to you. So 3 people have been charged in connection with the death of One Direction star Liam Payne in Argentina. He died after he fell from a 3rd-floor balcony at the Casa Sur Hotel in Buenos Aires on the 16th of October. The prosecutor ordered the arrest of the 3 and has charged one with abandonment of a person followed by death and supplying drugs. So this suspect apparently accompanied the artist on a daily basis during his stay in the Argentinian capital. Now, I don't think they've been named. According to a statement from the Office of Prosecutor Andres Esteban Madrea, a hotel employee and a 3rd person were charged with supplying drugs. So it reminds me a little bit of Matthew Perry, you know, the Friends star, because there's more than one way to kill someone, isn't there? You know, not necessarily that you have to kill them yourself, but if you're supplying them with things that kill, that substances that kill them, and not take, and the first guy not looking after someone that probably he was supposed to look after. So I don't know if this is his bodyguard they're talking about or a friend of his, but charged with abandonment of a person followed by death. So they've ruled out self-harm. So they're saying, so it's not, he didn't do it to himself, according to the prosecutor's office. They said there's nothing to indicate any 3rd-party involvement in his death, and they ruled out self-harm. They said that he did not adopt a reflex posture to protect himself from the fall, meaning it can be inferred he may have fallen in a state of semi or total unconsciousness. So now, bear in mind, this is what the prosecutor's office is saying. I know there'll be some of you out there be going, no, that can't have happened, or blah. You know, people will have their own theories. I'm just reading to you what the prosecutor says. Liam Payne was not fully conscious or was experiencing a state of notable decrease or loss of consciousness at the time of the fall, and it added that it would rule out the possibility of a conscious or voluntary act, as in the state he was in, he did not know what he was doing, nor could he understand it. The results of the toxicology tests revealed that in the moments before his death, he had traces of alcohol, cocaine, and a prescription antidepressant in his body. So, you know, that's a lethal combination, isn't it? Anyway, the investigation is continuing. Some of Liam's devices are still being analysed. I don't know how many devices he had. He probably had quite a few phones if he was ordering drugs and stuff like that. It said the prosecutor's office had received several dozen testimonies, analysed more than 800 hours of video from security cameras and public roads, and had conducted a forensic extraction of the contents of Liam Payne's phone. And it said that the investigation revealed at least 4 supplies of narcotics. And according to the post-mortem examination, Liam died from multiple injuries and internal and external bleeding. Oh, poor guy. Argentine investigators found what appeared to be narcotics and alcohol strewn around broken objects and furniture in Liam's hotel room, leading the public prosecution to surmise he had suffered a substance abuse induced breakdown around the time of his fall. 9 raids were also ordered on properties in Buenos Aires. And so apparently new music featuring vocals by Liam has had its release date postponed. US singer and songwriter Sam Pounds, who collaborated with Liam on Do No Wrong, previously said the track would be out on the 1st of November, but he has since said its release had been postponed because it's not time yet. And last month, Liam's girlfriend of 2 years, Kate Cassidy, revealed that the couple had planned on getting married next year. The 25-year-old had been in Argentina with Liam until 2 days before his death. So I just wanted to let you know that it's been said, what the prosecution in Buenos Aires are saying is 3 people have been charged in connection with his death. However, it's ironic really, because they charged 3 people, but they say there's no third party involvement. And also they've ruled out self-harm. So I wonder what verdict I presume they're having an inquest. I don't know. And I presume there'll be an inquest in the UK as well. You know, these are all a bit mysterious, aren't they? But yeah, I just wanted to let you know what was going on so far in Liam's very sad case. Now, I believe he's been repatriated, or I think he has already been repatriated, so his body was returned to Britain. So that's what I wanted to tell you about Liam Payne. And as I say, I will do some more in-depth videos when we know more, when maybe it's finalized, when the not post-mortem, when the inquest is finished and when we know more. But I just thought I would talk to you about that. It's something I wanted to talk about. I thought you might find interesting too. Now then, so now I'm going to move on to the Delphi murders. Now let's have a look at these girls. So this is a case, of course, that we've been following quite a lot in the recently. We've been talking about the trials been going on, hasn't it? Poor Libby and Abby, the 2 young teenage girls, went for a hike on a local trail in Delphi in Indiana in the United States, and allegedly bumped into this guy, Richard Allen. A lot of people though think no, he's not guilty. So the trial's been ongoing for the past 3 weeks, and I just wanted to let you know that the defense has rested. But when I say the defense has rested, it was a complete surprise, because the defense came out, the courtroom came out again yesterday, and we're expecting more evidence from the defense, and the defense rested its case. So whether the defense just felt that they'd already done enough to defend him, or they thought they should quit while they're ahead. You know, what I don't like about Richard Allen, and what really convinces me that he's most likely is guilty, is his chameleon-like appearance. You know, the way he's changed his appearance. This is how he is now. but this is what he was like when he was first arrested. So this is a case that happened quite a long time ago, 2017. It's only just come. The only reason that Richard Allen has been brought to trial is that a volunteer police receptionist found a lead, a tip, if you like, just by accident. And they went back and investigated Richard Allen again. And anyway, they thought they had enough to make a case. And, you know, a lot of people have complained about the trial, saying, you know, that Richard Allen has been, what's the word, used as a scapegoat, that there's not enough evidence against him because there's no DNA, no fingerprints. But there is a bullet from his gun that was found underneath one of the girls, or nearby to one of the girls, who were found with their throats slit. I mean, this was a brutal murder. So I mean, the thought that you know, that whoever did it is not going to be brought to justice, be it Richard or anybody else, is awful. But, you know, it's a bit like if Richard Allen is found not guilty, if the jury come back with a verdict of not guilty, there's not really anybody else in the frame, because the other person that was in the frame, he has died. We did a video on him the other day, Ron. He died of COVID a couple of years ago. So if it's, and I don't think it was him, you know, because he was investigated, his devices were taken, he was never charged, you know. So although some people are saying, oh, well, the FBI suspected him, which it seems like they did in the first instance, but there's the chihuahua. There's no evidence. Sorry, I'm going to just have to put the dog. Are you going in the bathroom? There's no evidence to suggest, you know, because he wasn't arrested while he was alive for 4 years, and he was actually imprisoned for some traffic offences, but he was never held to account for these murders. So I'm sure, you know, well, unless they just didn't have enough evidence against him, you know. So we'll see. I mean, I think from what we've seen, I think people are probably pretty split about whether Richard Allen is guilty or not. You know, a lot of the defence's argument lies on his mental health argument, because although he confessed 62 times to various people, not just, you know, and not under duress. They weren't forced confessions. He confessed voluntarily to his wife, to his mother, to his psychiatrist, to the prison guards. Over 60 times he confessed in very calm manner. And the jury got to hear that actual audio of him confessing, which we haven't got to hear. So the jury will have to decide if they think they were genuine confessions or not, and if those, combined with the bullet that was there at the scene, combined with the video that Libby took on the bridge of this guy, which is, you know, a lot of people think is Richard Allen. So the jury have got to decide that, haven't they? Is the combination of all those factors, and the fact he admitted he was on the bridge at the time, he admitted he was wearing those clothes. You know, if it wasn't him, who was it? Someone looks just like him, dressed identically. You know, so we don't know. And we don't know the extra things that the jury has been able to see that we haven't been able to see or listen to. We don't know about them. So it just depends it's the jury that, you know, it's not up to us now to decide. It's up to the jury to decide. They're the ones that have been presented with the evidence that both the prosecution and defence felt that was pertinent. We've had one person speaking for the prosecution saying they don't believe he was having psychosis, and then we've had an expert from the defence saying yes, he was definitely under psychosis. and that's why you confess. So, you know, the jury have got to sort that out and decide what's true, you know, which is true. Was he suffering from psychosis when he confessed 62 times? Or, like the prosecution expert says, was he not under psychosis? And so we should take those confessions seriously. You know, I don't envy the jury, to be honest, because it's, you know, they're talking about, I mean, he's going to, if he's found guilty, that's life imprisonment, isn't it? So, you know, it's not a small offence, and it carries a weighty sentence, and the jury are responsible really for Richard Allen's future now. So that's quite, you know, quite scary, isn't it? So, hi Darren, hi Nightbot. Nightbot's become a regular member of the chat now. So yeah, I didn't say my thank yous actually at the start of the video, but thank you everybody for subscribing. Please don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. As Nightbot says, remember to subscribe to this channel, please. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, on Facebook, and on TikTok and Instagram. Actually, I need to sort those links out properly. And if you want to support my channel, of course, you can always buy me a Ko-fi here on Ko-fi, which is in the chat there, the link. Or special thank you to everybody who is a member already, and also to people who have gifted memberships. Thank you so much. But why not consider becoming a member? So we do one live member stream every Monday night for Carry On Chatting level. And for Let's Chat, we do a live stream every fortnight. So next Thursday will be the next Let's Chat live, exclusive live stream to members. So thank you, Nightbot, for letting us know about those. Yeah, David, I agree. You know, when you confess to a crime, who would confess to that? And he, you know, his wife kept saying to him, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And he kept saying, yes, I did. I did. You know, he insisted that he had, same when he spoke to his mother. So I think that's part of the more damning evidence against him. So the defense has been at pains to prove that he only confessed because he was suffering from psychosis. So he was acting like a nutcase, wasn't he, in his cell? He was eating his own feces, apparently. But not in the beginning, though. So what the for the closing arguments, the prosecution brought in someone to say that actually at the time that he made these confessions, he was not suffering from or any signs of psychosis, that those actions that he did, like of, you know, eating his own feces, etc., they were actually actions from after he confessed. When he confessed, he was very calm. And I think that probably the jury will have heard that when they were played the audio of the confessions. So, as I say, it's the jury that has to decide. Hi, Musical. Well, we can't dismiss anything, can we? Because we don't know, because we haven't been au fait with everything that happened in the trial. There was things that the jury got to listen to or got to look at. The public weren't, because it was decided that this would not be a public trial. The judge decided that right at the beginning. So we don't know. The jury have got all the information. We don't have all the information. So we'll see. I think there'll be a verdict maybe later today. Do you think it looks good for Richard for it to go longer? Probably does, doesn't it? The longer it goes without a verdict, does that look good for Richard? Is that because people are talking about it, or do you think the longer it goes without a verdict, you know, waiting for the verdict, is that look bad for Richard? So, you know, at the end of the day, one verdict, one way or another, is going to, unless it's a hung jury, and then it all has to be gone through again, of course. And apparently, you know, the crime scene photos the photos of Libby and Abby are circulating around the internet, which is very sad, I think. Confessions usually end up a guilty verdict. Yeah, I think that's true, Musical, because if there's evidence to back it up, I mean, I think obviously if someone confesses, there's nutters confess to crimes daily, don't they? Especially high profile crimes. The police have to sort out so many false confessions. You know, people will phone up tip lines and say, oh yeah, I murdered, you know, I kidnapped Madeleine McCann or whatever. You know, it's amazing what people do. So but this is, I think, an important thing, because normally the confession comes first and then the police investigate it. And if they can't find any evidence to support that confession, then they realise it's just a bogus confession and it's thrown out. But having said that, that isn't what's happened with Richard, is it? Because he said apparently when he was arrested, he said, "Oh, it's over." You know, it was like everything he said, and then the police started investigating into it more, and they have found corroborating evidence. So it's a mixture. It's a mixture. It's not that he phoned up the police out of the blue and confessed to these murders, and then the police investigated into it and they couldn't find any corroboration of what he was saying. It's the opposite, really. They thought he'd done it. They've arrested him. He's confessed to it. So that's different from sort of mad confessors, isn't it? Or that the police have to deal with every day. This guy has confessed to it after having been arrested because of the video, Libby's video, the fact he was there at the time, the fact he was wearing the, you know, to me, he's definitely a bridge guy, but then some people disagree with that. So, you know, maybe the jury will be like that. You know, imagine in the jury, you've got 12 people, and I think at least the judge might accept a 12-10 verdict. I think they can do that. Maybe they can't do that in a murder charge, I'm not sure, but in some cases the judge can say, right, I will accept 10-2 verdict. I don't know if they can do that in a case as serious as this. But will the jurors be sat there, and will there be sort of half of them saying, no, I don't think he did it, and half of them saying he did, you know? So you'd like to be a fly on the wall, wouldn't you, in that jury deliberation room and see. And yeah, you're right, Musical. The jury have asked very smart questions. They've asked a lot of questions. They may still ask some more questions. They've asked for photos of Richard Allen when at the time he was arrested, you know, rather than what he looks like now. Because, of course, going back to this chameleon, like, the way he's changed, you know, he looked like that once, and now he looks like this. So he just looks like this, and in some point in the middle, he looked like that with the beard and everything. You know, he's changed his appearance so many times. But as you know, what I say, I think what all these, like the photo fit, both the photo fits have got in common. Look at his fat cheeks. You know, he's got fat cheeks in all these photos, except when he lost all that weight. So in my opinion, I think he's probably guilty, but, you know, doesn't really matter what I think. It matters what the jury thinks. So we'll see. Yeah, exactly, David. So all those things combined, they may not have any DNA. Honestly, it does make me laugh when everyone's gone on about DNA, because I know DNA is important if it's there, but there was nobody's DNA. So somebody killed them. So where's the DNA of the person who did kill them then? I still think he washed them in the creek, washed his DNA away. Maybe he was wearing gloves, who knows? But nobody's DNA was found. So it's not that, you know, the people making a thing about DNA, and of course DNA is brilliant if you can get it, but people have been convicted of murder before we had DNA. You know, we never used to have DNA, but people still got convicted. So In my opinion, it's silly to just say, oh, because there's no DNA. That's a modern thing, isn't it? Oh, there's no DNA, it can't be them. But of course it can, because some people are DNA aware. And, you know, where is the DNA from the murderer, whoever the murderer is? So that's the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, let me take the girl's picture. I just want justice for, you know, imagine the family. And, you know, we don't want somebody who's not guilty to be found guilty for nothing. But, you know, they want justice. They want somebody to be held accountable for the deaths of their daughters. So what we're going to look at now, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about this incident in the UK, in Edinburgh, that I talked about the other day. The poor guy that was supposedly run over by a bus in Cowgate in Edinburgh, and this, you know, his head was severed from his body apparently, you know, if you believe it or not. So the only thing I wanted to talk about, you know, I'm very sort of let's have a look. I'm reluctant to, you know, you've got to be aware of the family. You know, the police are urging social media restraint. Also, there were some riots in Edinburgh on bonfire night. You know, the trouble is, where we are now with the police is we don't believe a word they say, do we? Because of what happened with the South, you know, even if before, a lot of people already didn't believe what the police said. But then with the Southport stabbings, then it turns out that they, you know, the guy that was arrested, the young lad that was arrested for the Southport stabbings, they're still declaring it's not a terrorist incident. But then it turns out, you know, he had, he seems that he had been radicalized somewhat because of things that were found in his house that they never told us about until now. They waited till things calmed down. And although you can understand the logic behind that, because everything was very febrile, wasn't it? And there was a lot of false information going around. You know, what that's causing now is people don't believe the police. So when the police are saying this guy's been run over by a bus and somehow had his head severed, I mean, and completely, like, you know, very clean cut. I think all of us are like, how does that happen by a bus? I mean, that's just, how does a bus kill someone by, you know, slicing off their head in such a clean way? I mean, it's, you know, we'd say that nothing's impossible. You know, at the end of the day, nothing's impossible. But it does just seem strange. Anyway, what I want to tell you about this guy, he has been named, bless him. So that's what I want to tell you about. Let's have a look. Now, this poor guy and his poor family, you know, because obviously people are speculating. It's hard not to, it just feels wrong, this, you know, and I don't believe in conspiracy theories against the police and stuff. I won't say I don't believe in them, but I'm always reluctant to believe it. So police have named a man who died from catastrophic injuries after being hit by a bus. Now, they've never, you know, I don't know, it might help if they should sort of explained how it happened, you know, because people are imagining how could that happen. So anyway, this poor guy was called Michael Lenigan, 74. He was killed in front of people on a street packed with late night bars and nightclubs. So where are the witnesses? Where are people who were there and saw it happen talking? Anyway, apparently his family have thanked the public and emergency services for their response and asked for privacy. Well, they will want privacy. He had been on foot at the time of the incident. Officers set up a cordon covering a large area of the street in the aftermath. They also put up sheets on the South Bridge to screen off the view of the Cowgate below. Why does this just feel wrong? So Sergeant Paul Ewing of the Edinburgh Road Policing Unit said, "Our thoughts remain with Michael's family and friends, as well as everyone affected by this tragic incident." Now, of course, there was this horrible video that was going around where some Halloween revelers saw his head, and I have seen this video. It's horrible. They saw his head on the floor. It was CCTV video. So how did that CCTV video, how did it get leaked? That's another question, isn't it? How was that video ever issued in the first place, released in the first place? And so these young lads that were drunk, like walking up the street, thought it was a Halloween mask. One of them picked it up and then realized it was a real head and like threw it down. I mean, it was horrible. So who leaked that video? And anyway, this policeman says, "We've already spoken to a number of people who were in the area at the time, and work is ongoing to check public and private CCTV footage." It's understood several people witnessed the incidents before bars, clubs and hotels within the cordon were closed early. And the police say their investigation is ongoing. So they want privacy. The family want privacy. So who are these people that witnessed the incident? That's what I want to know. So apparently campaigners have been living streets. They said that the guy was hit by a bus that was killed on a hostile and dangerous street. That's a funny thing to say, isn't it? And Living Streets called for the area to be closed off to traffic 8 years ago after complaints it was the worst in the city for pedestrians. But still think that's a strange thing to say. All these things have led to people, it's like any of these strange cases that happen. It's never one little thing. The first strange thing is you think, oh, how did someone get decapitated by a bus? Then all the other things, like the secrecy around it, and the strange things that people are saying. So people are speculating, on top of the fact that now we know they didn't tell us the truth about the Southport stabbings, about the guy that Axel. He must have been radicalized online because he had an Al-Qaeda training manual, a PDF from an Al-Qaeda training manual. And he had resin in his room that is used to sort of make bombs and things. So, they did lie to us. And whether we understand the reasons why they did or not, because of course it was it was so much unrest at the time, but it just makes everybody dubious, doesn't it, to believe anything that the police say, which is not a good thing, is it? So it's just not a good thing. Hi, Seffi. Yeah, David with Richard Allen. Yeah, I bet he's. He won't be eating crap even now, will he? And the other thing that's quite strange is, sorry, I have really moved on, but just to go back to the Richard Allen thing, that's something that I forgot to say about the Delphi murders is he was never called to give evidence himself, not by the defence or the prosecution, which is a bit strange. Hi, Maria. So that's what I just wanted to tell you about that case, is that the man has been named, bless him. At the end of the day, whatever happened to this guy, 74-year-old Michael Lenigan, when will we get the, are they going to, are we in 3 months, are they going to say, oh, well, by the way, actually, it was a terrorist attack? Because this thing about the head, it reminds you, it's a bit like the Lee Rigby thing, isn't it? But we don't know. We don't know that for sure. Now, I want to do a video. Definitely, I'll be doing a video soon about bedroom terrorists. You know, I've been looking into it. I've been researching it, and so many young people get radicalized online, and not only, you know, radicalized from Islam or the far left, the far right. This is how extremists of any type are functioning at the moment. You know, they're reaching out to young people online, young disaffected people, people who spend too much time in their bedrooms, on their computer, watching, smoking weed or doing whatever, dissociated from society. And there's probably more now because of COVID. A lot of people started doing that during COVID and have never recovered from it. We all went a little bit loopy during COVID, I think. So I'm only just getting out and about now. You know, it took me ages. I could easily become agoraphobic. I like being at home. I'm not bothered about going. I mean, I do. I'm a person that when I go out, I dread it. I worry about it. And then when I get out, I feel great. You know, like just I'll sit. Oh, so did you hear what the dog said then? You know, you sort of like, oh God, you know, I worry about it and worry about it and worry about it. Then when I finally just do it, then I always have a good time and I enjoy it, and it's great to be out and that. But I could quite easily not go out. You know, that's like that's how I feel. It's easier to find an excuse not to go out, isn't it? But yeah, I've always been a little bit like that. I've always, and it's really, I'm a real paradox because I do love going out, and quite often, well, when I was younger, not so much now maybe, but once I got out, I would never want to go home. You know, I'd be out all night. I've been out all night. I've watched the sun come up on the beach more times than I can count, but not for a little while. I'm going to have to do that next summer. So, you know, well, what I'm saying, so a lot of young people have gone like this as well. Not only young people, all kinds of people. So that's the easiest way to radicalize somebody, isn't it? Online, you know, people that are vulnerable, sat at home, maybe at that rebellious stage. Teenagers, they are rebellious, so they do fight against the system, don't they? They do rage against the machine. So, you know, they're easy prey, I think. So that was that, though. So just wanted to tell you, they've named the guy, the poor guy who died. And how will this all turn out? Is it just going to stay like that? Or will somewhere down the line, will they be saying, oh, well, actually, you know, there was more to it? I don't know, but I pray for his family, bless him. Well, a prayer for him and a prayer for his family and how they're coping with it, because whatever has happened to this guy, that is not nice, is it, for the family? Okay, where are we now? So I've done Liam, I've talked about Liam Payne, we've talked about the Delphi, the jury gone to deliberation. Talked a little bit about the Edinburgh bus incident. Oh yeah, now this I found really interesting. This was an article in the Sun, but still interesting. That apparently, now if you're a believer in conspiracy theories, which as I say, well I wasn't, I'm starting to believe in them more. But just before the floods in Valencia, so you know that in Spain we had these terrible floods last week. Was it last week now or the week? Yeah, not this last week, but the week before. Apparently, now again, I haven't had time to look into it properly, but according to the Sun, there was some UFO. Now, I have seen a UFO in Spain. Again, this needs a full video of its own, but I think I have anyway. I think I have seen a UFO in Spain, funnily enough. Let's have a look what this has got to say. So, wouldn't... Look,
Hostia, ¿qué cojones? Es que sí, ¿qué cojones es eso? Son putos ovnis, hermano. ¡Hostia puta!
Excuse the bad language. If you speak Spanish, you'll know that they were using quite a lot of bad language there. Like, what the F is this? But in Spanish, what is it?
¿Dónde están?
Ahí.
Ahí, sí, se ven. Al final. Estoy grabando uno. Hostia, qué puta pasada, ¿qué coño es eso? Hermano. Luego decís que no existen, hijos de la gran puta.
¿Qué?
Dios, ahí al final.
Oh, don't want to watch about that other thing. Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, I don't want to watch about Peanut the squirrel. Gosh. They've trying to try. Was I sharing that? I don't know if I was actually sharing it, but they're trying to take me to Peanut the squirrel being decapitated. I don't want to talk. God, I've had enough of decapitation, to be honest. Right, where am I? So let's go back and find that again. Right, let's have a look again. So what do you think? Do you believe in UFOs?
Hostia, ¿qué cojones?
UFO in Spain.
Que sí, ¿qué cojones es eso? Son putos ovnis, hermano.
¡Hostia puta!
Or do you think somebody's
¿Dónde están?
Ahí.
do you think somebody's made
Ahí,
that
sí,
video,
se
you
ven.
know?
Al final. Estoy grabando uno. Hostia, qué puta pasada, ¿qué coño es eso? Hermano. Luego decís que no existen, hijos de la gran puta.
¿Qué?
Dios, ahí al final.
Oh, it's going to give me the bloody decapitation again. Right, I've got to stop sharing it because... Hi, Paul. So what do you think? Do you believe in UFOs? Again, needs a longer video to look at because that's the sun. I don't know if that video is genuine or that video has been made up or whatever. Let's see if I can find it anywhere else on any other news channel. Or maybe I can find it on a Spanish one. Thing is, I think if it's not on the Spanish news channels, I can't see that it can be real. Oh, here's one. Oh, no, it's here on the Spanish. Let's have a look. Just want to read the article. You can't get to read an article. Oh, God. So, yeah, it's on this Spanish news channel. A video that shows mysterious lights in the sky in Barcelona. So, because Barcelona later, first of all, it was in Valencia, the main floods, etc. But now later, well, you can see the sky. It was just about to have floods there in Barcelona, and that's where this video was taken. So, what do you think? Oh, here's the actual Twitter post.
Hostia, ¿qué cojones? Que sí, ¿qué cojones es eso? Son putos ovnis, hermano.
¡Hostia puta!
¿Dónde están?
Ahí.
Ahí, sí, se ven. Al final. Estoy grabando uno. Hostia, qué puta pasada. ¿Qué coño es eso? Hermano.
Okay, so what you let me know what you think. I've got to go now. Yeah, well, it is a big city, Steffi, Barcelona. So yeah, probably there should have been other videos. But anyway, just to let you know, about it's interesting. So the only thing I haven't got around to covering is the fire at Sydney Airport. So I'll cover that later. I've got to go. But thanks for watching. And remember to leave your DNA on the like button. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.